I have a problem, and that problem is that I kind of suck at playing violin, which is exactly why I'm going to unsuck myself in the next 7 days, which will hopefully get me a few steps closer to, well, hopefully not being bad. So the piece that I'm going to be playing for the next 7 days is this Chrysler Preludium and Allegro, which is kind of a nice piece. It's not too difficult, so I'll probably be fine, hopefully. Day one started with just playing scales, going up and down. It goes up and down again. The thing I was focusing here on to totally relax my left hand, which is actually pretty dang difficult. And you can just see me like practicing this for like the next 30 minutes. And here you can also see me practicing some intonation, because let's say it wasn't always super amazing. And it was finally time to start with the actual piece. So frick that book, man. So this is the introduction, and here I was mainly focusing on not doing my vibrato too wide, because otherwise it sounds like wobbly. Finally we came to the Allegro part. Now here I started with this like spiccato part. The trick here was first off to get it bouncing, and then having it contrast with this next section, so that the first section is soft and then the second section is a bit louder. And it ended up, I mean, pretty okay. Like you can hear the intonation isn't perfect, but yeah, I'll fix that later. Day 2 started off with more scales, oh yes. I started with the second section, which is this double stop part. Mainly just focusing on getting the intonation, as like it was the first time I was playing this. Yeah, as you can see, this was pretty tedious. This took me quite a while. Look at that face, man. And then the other part of practicing this was using your wrist. Now this is very important, so that you don't do that. This is over exaggerating, but it's just for practicing, you know. Day 3 started with some arpeggios. I used a nice technique called sliding. This sliding was basically used to slide my hand into position to get that nice intonation, you know. Next up I actually did some double stop scales, and I did this basically by just playing one note and then the next note and then playing them together, and after some time the intonation starts getting better. Day 3 also spent some time with this second section, basically just fine-tuning the intonation. And after a bit of practicing, as you can see here, like looking in the mirror and stuff, it sounded pretty decent. Next up was, well, the next section. As you can see, I'm accentuating the top note to practice getting your fingers at the right place. I used the same strategy for this part. As you'll see later, I ended up playing this a bit slower. I think it sounds a bit nicer. I'm sure you guys are tired of watching me practice the scales by now, so yeah, we'll just skip this part. Day 4 was basically the same as day 3, just practicing this part again. As you can see, I practiced it in rhythms very slowly to make sure of that intonation. It was basically the same as day 3. Let's continue. Scales, we didn't want to see this. Day 5 I started working on this spiccato part. This is supposed to be a brushed spiccato, which is like a long spiccato. That was basically the only thing I worked on for this day. It was pretty boring. It was very boring. Scales, no, skip. For this next section I made sure not to go too fast, otherwise it also doesn't sound too good. And also accentuating some notes, making them feel more important, which also makes it kind of interesting, so that's pretty cool. Day 7 I basically just refined everything and smoothed everything up. With scales you want to have the right balance of pressure and speed to get the best sound possible. For this little bouncy section at the start of the allegro, I decided to change the dynamics more gradually into this louder section, so now it feels more smooth kind of. You also see how I was accentuating some of the notes, and this basically just gives it some shape. That's pretty cool, I guess. I didn't really change anything at the spiccato part, but I mean you guys can listen to it anyways. This next part that's kind of fast, that goes like up. I started it loudly and then softly the second time. And then it starts softly and kind of crescendos. Now this part has kind of an upwards trajectory, so I shaped the dynamic that kind of gets louder as it progresses. Well, no, obviously like the intonation was pretty bad, so yeah, here you can hear me practicing it in double stops, and then obviously practice it for like quite a while. Finally, the double stop section. This part, there are a few important things. The first important thing is to stroke and not to hit it. And you can listen to the end. I don't really have any commentary here, so. And yeah, that was it. It's difficult while keeping a relaxed hand, but I'll figure it out sometime. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, I mean, I guess you can subscribe or you can like. Any of those things would be pretty cool. And also, if you learned something, that's also pretty cool. Otherwise, if you didn't, you can go watch this video. You can actually learn good things that actually come from a professional. But anyways, do 30 push-ups right now, okay? 30 push-ups.